All right, good afternoon again, folks. Just as soon as we took that stream down, the new warning did get issued. So there is the new polygon, pretty close to where I was trying to draw what I thought they would do with that. This one does go until 5. This is mainly a Dooley County storm, but it does include parts of southern Houston County, obviously the last little bit of Macon County right here. So mainly just Dooley. All right, so let's go ahead and check in with this, and you can see that the hail core just blew back up. So as we go back, notice how the thing was split, and then boom, just like that, we're back to nearly 1 inch in diameter. So Byramville area, let's check on velocity for this. Let's check both of these. Yeah, I don't see anything rotating in there, so that's good. We don't want to see that. So basically some gusty winds and some pretty decent hail with this. Again, your hail core is going to be an indicator there of the strength of the storm. So if you're seeing that go back to yellow like that, that means the storm is back up and running intense enough to have this new warning. All right, so let's kind of go in there. Whoa, I didn't mean to go that far. There's Byramville, so this is going to come in through town and mainly to the south of town, between Byramville and the Lilly community, eventually heading toward Pinehurst. And if you had plans on driving, depending on where you are, north or south, probably south if you're listening to me, on 75, that's going to be a little bit of a slow go through from Unadilla to Pinehurst to Vienna, right through this corridor here in the next 15 minutes or so, as this makes its way on off toward the east here. So if we get a hail core like that situated right over the interstate, I would just, if you had plans to try, just wouldn't head toward Dooley County for a little bit, let this ride on through. Again, not a tornado warning, not seeing anything like that. We keep looking for that, see if we see any rotation in there. But this is a hail producer and gusty winds, possibility of 60 mile per hour winds. Let me take that out so I quit accidentally choosing that storm. All right. Okay, so just to do a sweep over the big picture again, because I still have questions from time to time about especially with this big weekend with festival stuff, cherry blossom underway now, and you can see some sprinkles. So we still have the potential for light rain now, and as we go through tonight, it's from the top edge of this kind of leftover stuff. As far as thunderstorm type precip, I don't see that happening in the Macon area. It looks like it's going to stay south in our southern counties as we go on through the next however many hours to get this stuff through. Like this storm in particular has just started to enter in, Macon, Dooley counties, and if it holds, it's still got to go all the way across here. Macon area, again, maybe some light rain. So if you were headed out to any cherry blossom stuff or whatever tonight, I would take an umbrella just in case. Probably going to be on the light rain end of things. So again, this warning goes until 5 o'clock. If you're on the last stream we had a little while ago, we were talking about where this was the original hail core south of Montezuma, and then we saw that the center actually kind of took over down this way, and that's what's running through Byramville. There's a comment. James, appreciate you. It's hailing in Byramville, he says. And I would believe that. There is a look at the hail core. If I go back a scan, you can see we're looking on the scale here. You're talking about 1 inch in diameter. And when I go forward to the latest scan, at least as of now, it shows it a little bit smaller. But we've seen fluctuations in this hail core with the history of this storm over the past hour. So once again, I-75, pretty much a window between Unadilla and Vienna, not going to be a good traveling spot. What is the hail core? The question is, hail core means it is where the hail is in the core of the storm. So it's kind of like an elevator shaft, if you want to call it that. It's just where the hail is being created and where it's dropping. The hail core, that centermost part of the storm that's got the biggest thump to it. So we can do a track on this. Let me make sure that all the info is correct from earlier when it was moving east at 40. Let's see, 60 miles per hour. And east at 45 on this latest one. So we'll take it, we'll do a track from here and go out east at 45. And there are approximate location times for some of these places. That's if it holds together. So if you see Eastman, Chester, those kind of areas, especially like Eastman, that's if it's still holding like this. Now, also what you see when you're doing a storm track is you notice that it fans out. That's on purpose, kind of like a hurricane cone, where the cone of uncertainty, if you want to call it that, it's a little bit uncertain. You know, this gives it room if it were to start moving more toward the southeast or toward the east-northeast. But generally, because the storm is moving due east, you really kind of just focus on this area through here. Probably not so much Hawkinsville, definitely probably not so much Chester, but Eastman could be in it, because so far we haven't seen this storm wanting to deviate one way north or south. Back to the hail core, still, let's see, 3/4 of an inch. So again, going to be crossing over the interstate probably in the next 10 minutes or so. Once again, that is going to be a very slow go through that area. If you had plans on driving through Dooley County in just a little bit on I-75. What level are we at now? We're still level 1. Yes, Haley, still just it's a low end level 1, and this is kind of what a level 1 looks like, where you just have maybe one severe thunderstorm warning, maybe a couple. And this is, so when we say a low end level 1, this is the kind of day we're talking about. You know, we look for rotation in there to see if we see anything like a tornado, and we haven't seen that. So, I mean, it still can do some obviously some damage, you know, some tree limbs down, stuff like that, with some straight line winds, maybe 60 mile per hour. And then also there is the hail is one of those things too. And at times we've seen that fluctuate up to nearly 2 inch in diameter. Right now showing about probably 3/4 of an inch. Some of the, hello Olson. Fred in the house. We have seen times when, well, I've seen 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch and 3/4, but some of the reports on the ground were pea-size hail back in Ellaville. So again, if you're going to be crossing 75, not crossing it, going down it here in the next little bit, hail will be an issue. I mean, obviously the strong gusty winds and the heavy rain, but the obviously you don't want hailstones bouncing off the car. Let's check that hail core now. It looks like it's a little bit smaller. I was looking on the reflectivity. It didn't look as bright. So, but just to give you an idea of how this storm has been fluctuating, again, if you look on the scale, you obviously want to be more down this way. It's smaller size hailstones this way. This gets larger this way. So in this color table, we're down pea size. But watch as we go back in time, you can see it going 1 inch in diameter. You can see it go down low. And then back here in the green is when it would go 1.5 inches. So we've seen it kind of bounce around. Right now it's at a low point. And usually that is an indicator of the strength of the storm. So what you want to see is that hail core shrinking down, smaller stones, and also less lightning. And it looks like we're seeing a decrease in lightning. It's got that look like it's shredding apart a little bit, which is what we were hoping to see right through here. I mean, there's still hail here, but I want to see if this is going to start to weaken down. We haven't seen that happen just yet. And this is probably going to be the main show as we go on through the next couple of hours if it holds together, because there's nothing out in front of it. So we're not seeing, I mean, if you take a look at these storms back here, notice how they're running into kind of like, if you think of it, an airplane, the jet wash of this thing. So this has already come in and scoured out all the instability. So this is coming in, and you can see the lightning strikes fading away. So we're not seeing as much there. There's nothing ahead of this that's already turned the atmosphere over. So this is all primed, basically food for this thing to keep going. Josh, yes. Coming up in a few minutes, I'll have to probably split from you all for a little bit because we got to get ready for the 5 o'clock show. So I have to change from what we're doing here to TV. So you'll probably hear a little bit of microphone checks and all that stuff going on in the background here in a minute. Frank just came through, going to jazz himself up. All right, so that's actually looking better to me. Let's take away the lightning here. And you can see for yourself. Look at the purple in there. That's where, you know, you got heavy rain, but that's also hail showing up in there. And notice how it's not quite as intense, starting to kind of shrink down. That's a good sign. Let's look at the hail core again. That data sometimes is a little bit slow coming in. So that one's one I checked a minute ago, I think. I don't know if that's the most recent. Still probably a half inch, maybe a little bit more. But by the time some of this is hitting the ground being reported, it's showing up as pea size. Close enough. All right, so let's check velocity mode again. Oop. You can see a broad rotation in that just because it's a cell turning. But there's nothing that's dropping down out of it when we think tornadoes. Waiting on a new hail core to come in, a hail size map to come in. Well, that is a new one, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah. So it looks like it's shrinking down. Yeah, so maybe a little bit of a core of pea-size hail. On these roads. Lisa with the Macon question again. Yeah, I think the thunderstorms are done for the Macon area. I can't rule out some sprinkles. We just had a few going through, and there's still some more back here. So we may still, and let's go to the big map. You may still have some of that, and you can kind of see for yourself. If you just sort of, you know, here's kind of the axis of everything. I actually drew that too far up. Let's go. Like that. So everything is going to pretty much run underneath that line as it pushes toward the east. So anything above that is just going to be rain, if anything, a few sprinkles. And you can see as we go back here, still some light rain, Mississippi to Alabama. Notice how that's kind of fizzling out too, but we'll be close enough in the Macon area to maybe get a few sprinkles as we go through tonight. So not a big deal, but if you're going out, I would take, I wouldn't say, you know, like, hey, let's go canceling plans, but I'd take an umbrella just in case. All right, so there's a new hail shot, and this storm, unless it flares back up, is really starting to weaken down, which is what we wanted to see. Yeah, it's not nearly what it was. Still some lightning with it. And this goes until 5 o'clock. Let me see if the Weather Service has said anything about it. Nope. So it may run itself out at 5 o'clock, which is what they may do with it, unless they cancel it early. So here's what we're going to do. It is coming up on 4:51. I got to get ready for the TV thing. So that's all I know about this storm. It's moving from Dooley toward Pulaski. We'll see if there's a new warning issued following this storm. We'll see if this expires early. We'll see about all that. But the show will be coming up at 5 o'clock, and I will see you over there. Appreciate your time.